There are two types of ecom brand owners. The one that you are determines whether your brand will actually scale and have a generational exit, like a multi-9-figure exit, multi-8-figure exit, multi-million-dollar exit, or whether it slowly dies where it is today. Okay, it all comes down to how you approach these three things. There are stimuli, there are strategies, and then there are fundamentals. Now, before I go any forward, my name's Ganor. I make these videos to make scaling to 8 figures easy for health and wellness e-commerce brands. And scaling to 8 figures is like, honestly, just a matter of these three things. Like, if you approach these three things in the way that you're supposed to, then you'll actually scale. If you don't, then you might scale. You might see a little bit of success, but you'll just come crashing back down. And eventually, if you do want to have a successful business, you're going to actually have to do what I say in this video, which just sounds very egotistical, sounds very narcissistic, all that stuff, but it is the truth because this is a fundamental of business, all right? Stimuli are things that trigger actions in humans. For example, ads, offers, creatives, landing pages, like all the things that you actually show your customer, that is a stimuli. Even reviews are like a stimuli. They trigger the action of maybe trusting your brand a little bit more. They might trigger the action of clicking a button, right? Strategies are ways of constructing those stimuli to get a desired action. So a strategy might be that, okay, a stimuli is your hero section, your product, and your reviews. A strategy is the way you actually construct that, right? To actually get a desired action, which might be to actually purchase your product. Then the fundamentals are what you build stimuli and strategies on. For example, ideas and principles. A principle is coiling, right? I believe that's what it's actually called. Coiling is essentially where you take one piece, which might be, let's say, one of your winning ads, and you take another thing, which might be another one of your winning ads, and you actually coil them together. You actually combine them to create an ad number 3, which is an even stronger type of ad, right? It basically comes from this principle of chemistry where you take one strong metal, combine it with another strong metal, and you make an even stronger metal, right? You can literally use these ideas and principles. That's a fundamental. If you understand this, you know, you'll get what I mean in a second. So as brand owners, you're either one of the two. You're either a type 1, you're a stimuli and strategy ripper, or you're a fundamental seeker. Stimuli rippers go and they rip creatives, they rip landing pages, offers from 7 to 9-figure brands, and they want the newest style of creative that's like ripping, you know, they go on X and they scroll, you know, like they're with their little hunchbacks and they go and try to see, you know, what's the newest thing that's ripping, and they always want the easy, copy-pastable, shiny stimuli that'll just magically scale their brand. Then there are fundamental seekers. They go and they analyze creatives, landing pages, offers, all the stimuli and strategies from those brands to actually find the fundamentals they were built on. They don't want to understand what worked, they actually want to understand why it actually worked in the first place, and in the short term, fundamental seekers have to go through a lot of pain and a lot of suffering to actually make this work. It's very painful to sit down and try to analyze a brand and find what fundamentals it was built on. I was literally going to show you an example of this as well, maybe I will near the end of the video, but fundamental seekers have to go through a lot of pain and suffering to make this work, but in the long term, they reap the rewards of actually creating unique stimuli to get results. In the long term, they're able to actually think for themselves and understand why certain things work the way that they work, why humans take certain actions the way that they do, and they can actually craft their own ads without having to rip their competitors like a lot of you may have to, right? Stimuli rippers, on the other hand, find short-term success, right? They have the newest winning creative, they have the newest creative that they ripped from X, and they get the short-term success, but in the long term, they suffer the consequences of having to hop from one trend to the other to actually just stay alive because they don't understand the fundamentals. And to build and exit a brand in the future, you actually have to be a fundamental seeker. I'm not saying you can't go and get inspiration from all these big brands, right? I'm not saying that you can't go analyze their creatives and everything. That's not the point of this. The point is actually to dig a layer deeper and understand why it works so well. If you see an ad that is ripping, I'm not saying that you have to not like take inspiration from it. Don't ignore it. Like, see why it's actually ripping. What fundamentals are actually behind it. Let me show you an example of this. Let me go to IM8. This offer is actually working really, really well. And when I actually started to analyze why it's working so well, I understood that it's the principle and idea of loss aversion. So loss aversion is simply where if you take something away from someone, it hurts more than you actually giving them the same exact thing. So for example, easiest example of this is if you're walking down the street and you pick up a $10 note, you're like, oh yeah, cool, $10 note, nice. Put it in your pocket, keep walking. If you actually had a $10 note in your pocket already though, and you dropped it and you were just like walking about your day and you look in your pocket, you can't find the $10 note anymore, you would be pretty pissed. You would be like, okay, come on, why is this happening? The loss hurts more than the gain, right? And this is exactly what they do here as well. Right now, 90-day supply, I get it for $323 a month. I get this entire welcome kit, and I get future monthly gifts. If I downgrade, I actually lose some of the gifts. Like, I literally lose this little shaker over here, and I have to pay more. So I'm actually losing out some benefits. Then if I go for a one-time purchase, I don't even get these all these benefits and stuff, and I actually get the welcome kit, but I have to purchase it for $462. They're leveraging loss aversion here. You're losing out on all the discounts and everything you could be getting. This is how you seek for fundamentals, right? You have to understand these fundamentals first, which you should go out into the world and find these fundamentals of life. Usually, honestly, a lot of you won't get this. That's why I'm not going to explain it fully, but you have to even study biology. And honestly, it's crazy, but I'll give you a principle of biology, right? Charles Darwin actually said that fitness is what actually... The species that have the most fitness, which is basically the ones that can survive the most, are the ones conducive to their environment, right? And what that means is, it doesn't really matter who's the strongest or who's the weakest. It's those who are most conducive to their environment. That means that people who are most adapted to their environment. Now imagine that your market is an environment, and right now the environment is saying that, authentic UGC content is going to work really well because all your competitors are running AI ads, right? That's an environmental thing. So if you actually become the species per se in the actual market who actually shows authentic UGC creators, you will absolutely rip. You will absolutely start getting sales, right? Because you're obviously leveraging this principle of biology. So honestly, leveraging these principles is what you need to do. But this video isn't obviously about that. It's just making you aware of it. So the point is to actually dig a layer deeper and understand why everything works so well, and that's how you'll end up actually creating stimuli that has never been made before. So it's like zero chance of being copied, but it converts better than everything you've ever seen. Groons did this, Primal Queen did this, Norse Organics did this as well, and they're all 9-figure brands. If you go and analyze the founders of these brands, right, they're not on X scrolling to find the next big thing. They're not on Instagram scrolling to find the next big thing, right? They might use it for research. They might have an account there where they actually go and pretend like they're their target market just so they can actually see what's going on in the market, get some really good ideas, but they don't use it to randomly just see what's working and just copy everyone's ideas. They actually build their strategies and their stimuli on fundamentals, and it really just works like this, right? Let me just draw this up for you as well. You've got your fundamentals over here, and then you've got your stimuli and your strategies, and here is your brand, right? If you don't have this shit in check and this breaks, there's cracks in it, the more pressure you actually put up here, it's just going to bang. It's going to go all over the place because the fundamentals are going to break. It's like building your house on a foundation of sand. It just won't work. So you need to become a fundamental seeker. You need to seek fundamentals of the world. And honestly, it is not that hard. Just go search up principles of economics, for example, if you want to understand media buying, right? Or go understand psychology. Like, I'll literally prove it to you right now. I'm reading this book. This book over here is from 1890. It's called The Principles of Psychology, Volume 1 by William James. This was literally written in 1890. I think it was probably written before that because it's like 700-page book and this is volume 1. But that's essentially what it comes down to, just understanding these fundamentals, and then using these fundamentals I read in the book, I can actually make amazing ads for our clients, right? And now if you are on the obviously topic of scaling, if you are a 6 figures a month e-commerce brand in the health and wellness space and you're just struggling to scale to those 7-figure months, and you feel like nothing's working, ROAS just tanks when you're trying to scale the spend, you're launching new ads but they're not becoming winners, well, you should probably click the first link in the description. You don't have to click it, right? It's not an obligation, but it's just a video of me explaining how me and my team could help you. And it's not some course, it's not some webinar or training, or it's literally just like a very short video actually. I think it's a few minutes explaining exactly how we could help you. Our guarantee is kind of crazy, so you might want to check it out. But anyway, that's all I really have for you guys in this video. If you like this video, then click the like button, okay? And yeah, I mean, if you also have any questions or suggestions or any comments, right, just comment them down below. I get back to every single comment, and chances are we're never going to see each other again. So yeah, if you do want to subscribe to the channel, you probably should, because you'll end up seeing a few more of my videos. And yeah, honestly, if you guys want me to go deeper into this, I would love to go deeper into this topic, but you got to let me know first, right? I'll talk to you all very soon.